यूट्यूब को। ठीक है। यूट्यूब को। ठीक है। ओके। कर दिया। चलो। ओके। All right. So I think in quick succession, I think we should have a break of 1 hour between power of knowledge and this. Anyway, so let us start today's session. Next time, say we'll have a break of 1 hour between these two sessions because these are, quite emotionally tough. Next time, 1 hour, 1 hour session. Okay, so I want to introduce today uh, the a memoir of Indra Nui. Actually, I just wanted to introduce this today because I've been waiting for it for some time, and I wanted to talk about her because there are a lot of people. I mean, in our class. There are a lot of people in our class who are women, and I want you people to realize that you should, you know, read about these women CEOs and leaders so that you can, there are two reasons why you should read. One is that it will give you a confidence that these women were just like you who made it big. And second, you can talk about it as a strategic advantage that you have read these leaders being a woman. And as a woman, you can always position yourself in competition as a better leader compared with others. I mean, comparison does not, I'm not talking about comparing yourself, but at least you can project yourself as someone who is a good leader, a strong leader, being a woman. So you can take advantage of being a woman and being read, after having read many women top leaders, it would be like, you can always position yourself. You'll not get, you'll not get intimidated by the system. Forget about anything. I mean, nobody will scare you just because you are a woman fighting for the top position. So you'll have the confidence that people in the past have done it, and you are just a link in the long chain, you know. So that will give you an added confidence. Now, why boys should read the women CEOs and women leader is, then they can claim that they have understood the leadership style and the nature of women who succeeded as top leaders. So in a world where diversity is so important, and management is becoming more and more complex, their understanding of the leadership ways of women and how they manage and how they succeed at the workplace will give them an advantage while becoming being a leader. Okay, so both of you have an advantage. Both of you will have an advantage. The women who are reading the CEOs, the leaders, not only corporate leaders, I'll introduce many more, but corporate leaders, I mean, it is easily available. Like we can have 3, 4 easily accessible memoirs and autobiographies or biographies of great women corporate leaders. Okay, so it is easily available, it is authentic, it is verifiable, and everybody accept it as authentic reading. So you can talk about it. Okay, it is not some obscure, vague, hidden thing. So you can talk about it. It will also give the world an impression that you are serious about you being a woman when it comes to leadership and the corporate world. Why boys will have an advantage? As they can always claim that yes, I have read about the leaders and I respect them, and my respect for women at workplace. Just socho na, if you are writing this in your say story, that my respect for women comes from how I grew up in a family and how I was made to treat my mother and my sister. Like let me give an example. I always tell children at home when they fight, I mean, among their sisters. I mean, there are three kids in my house. One is a 7-year-old, one is a 15-year-old, and one is a 13-year-old. So 13-year-old is a girl, and the 7-year-old is a boy, and the 15-year-old is a boy. Now these two hooligans, they will become a team, and they will bother their sister. So I will tell them that those who cannot respect their sister, and those who do not care for their sister, I do not respect such guys, because they will not end up respecting women. I mean, your respect for women, your love for women, your genuine trust, your ability to build trust among women start with your ability to make your sister trust you, make your mother trust you. So if you can't do that at home, then you can't do that in the world. Okay, so start respecting her, and you can show it by, I mean, being a father, being being brother of their father. You can teach them, you can, being the guardian in a family, you can teach them how to respect. And you can do that by respecting your own sister, by respecting your own mother, by respecting your own wife. Many men forget that if they do not respect their wife, then their children may not respect their mother, and they may not respect their other women, and they may not respect their classmates who are women, because there are a lot of messages in this society which gives them the wrong message. I mean, there are a lot of interactions in this society. I mean, how do we interact? I mean, how do we base our interaction with women in our I mean, in our life? We have our family, we have our schools and college. Okay, we have our environment in which we meet women. I mean, there are three ways in which we meet women directly. One is family, second is our workplace or academic institution, and third is general environment. Okay, like we are going on the street, like we are in the normal street. So there are three uh, avenues when we interact with women directly. Our own interaction. Okay, my family, my workplace or institution. Okay, and the environment. I mean, like we are going to a bus stop, or we are going to the shop, we are going to the market. There we interact. These are direct interactions which shape our value system towards women. Okay, which in fact, which configure ourselves, which configure our mindset towards women. Okay, how we treat, how we observe the treatment of women in our family configures our DNA, our mindset. Number one. Second, how women are treated at our workplace, right? Institution, that configures our mindset. And third, neutral, on the streets, where we interact, where we meet. Suppose I'm going in a bus, or I'm going in an auto rickshaw, or I'm going in a metro. How the interaction takes place, that shapes us as individual. Now, these are direct interactions where we can evaluate, we can have a choice. but a very large amount of input comes from medium which we don't control. For example, films. We don't control how a film depicts a woman. Okay. Media, advertisements, TV shows, TV serials, all these indirect channels, all these indirect mediums through which women are presented, and our interaction with that, that also determines how we treat and how we are configured to deal with women in our life. So, unfortunately, the films, the advertising agencies, the TV serials, the way they are presenting to us the dynamics of women, if we are not careful to filter, if we are not careful to apply our own sanskaras and our own thinking, we might develop a very impractical, unrealistic, and a crooked sense of, how to deal with women. Did you get this point? This is a very important original idea that I am trying to share with you. I'm not reading it from any book. This is what this is my personal belief and ideology that I would like to share as a teacher. So we should read the memoirs, the autobiographies, the biographies of women leaders so that we do not get misled by what a third grade TV serial shows to us, by what a third grade director or a comedian or a podcaster talks to us, right? So we are able to filter out. There is more to women than what Ekta Kapoor shows to us. There is more to women than what those people like Allahabadia and those they present to us. There is more to women than what an advertisement shows to us. Amul macho, bade aaram se, kind of thing, right? Anything. So, yes, Samayar, and fortunately, I'm blessed with this that I don't, I'm not into watching these things. So somehow, and I've grown up, feeling very uncomfortable with language that, that is not very civilized, because somehow I'm the language person, and any distortion in language, when it is presented to me, I feel very uncomfortable. I feel, pathologically repelled by indecent, indiscreet uses of language. I mean, this is something just like some of you have a very strong musical sense that you get irritated by a non-musical, non-harmonious sound. Some of you have a very, strong, artistic sense. You get irritated when somebody is like, scribbling useless thing. Some of you have a very strong that again harmonious sound, a sense where you start feeling allergic to what they're scratching on the wall, kind of thing. So similarly, I as a person have this repulsion for indiscreet, indecent language by anybody. Okay, so but what my point is here, that we should read the memoirs, the autobiographies of these great leaders, and women leaders also. Uh, Women, for reinforcing your identity as someone who does not get intimidated by the world, and second, for men to actually align their value system, to develop their understanding of how women are normal, equal, and respectful human beings. Okay. uh, they are not, I mean, when you use an expletive uh, dealing with even a woman, um, then you are actually, you are not realizing that you are actually demeaning a very important species in our universe. So it will make you a more responsible human being. Okay. So anyway, so that is why I wanted to introduce. I never say that I'm uh, going to give a presentation on an autobiography. I always say that let us talk about a book. Let us. I just read few pages. I'll keep coming back to these books. It is not that I have started reading and I have completed it. I'll just read few things. I'll read few pages. I'll try to create an interest in your mind so that you can explore further, so that we can read further also. So everything that I do in these classes is initiation. It is not completion. Okay. So did you get my point so far? I mean, was I able to convey something very important about philosophy of life, practical in a simple manner to you in this class so far? I mean, like, I've spent around 10 minutes on this, but was I able to convey something that will help you evolve as a person, that might help you, how you train your people when you become a leader? If you remember what I've said today, if you remember what I've said today, then when you will become a leader, and if you remember it then also, then probably you will be living a very powerful, good life. And this is the time when you start, arranging the value system in your life. No? This is when you start creating a map for the territory, how to treat women in your life, whether to treat them just as an object, as an advertisement, or as a movie, or as TV serials depict, or as Indra Nui depicts herself, as say this. Hmm, I keep forgetting names here. I'm growing old. Um as so many other depict uh, they're what they are. So anyway, I mean, I would want you to play this video for the first 10 minutes again and again, so that it reinforces your mind. I'll introduce Indra Nui to you. I do not have a soft copy of this, so I'm not showing it to you on your screen. So I'll just read it from this. You will have to pay attention and try to, and I thank all of you who are present here, because yes, there's so many. I mean, I'll introduce. You can make a list of it, and I'll talk about it. So I'll read this to you. You'll have to pay attention. So I'm reading the jacket part of the book. Uh, for a dozen years, as one of the world's most admired CEOs, Indra Nooyi redefined what it means to be an exceptional leader. The first woman of color and immigrant to run a Fortune 50 company, and one of the foremost strategic thinkers of our time. She transformed PepsiCo with a unique vision, a vigorous pursuit of excellence, and a deep sense of purpose. Now, a rich memoir brimming with grace, grit, and good humor, Nui offers a first hand view of her legendary career and the sacrifices it so often demanded. Nui takes us through the events that shaped her from her childhood and early education in 1960s India to the Yale School of Management, to her rise as a corporate consultant and a strategist who soon ascended into the most senior executive ranks. So, what I love most, what I'll be discussing in detail, would be the initial parts of her life. I'll definitely talk about things that she did as a chairman, PepsiCo, CEO of PepsiCo. But I will emphasize a lot on her formative years, how she was shaped as a student, how she lived as a student, how she lived in a family, how her values were shaped. Okay. How did India look like in 1960s when she was growing up? So when you read an autobiography of these people, you not only come across what is at this point of time, you also get a glimpse of their times. So you get a glimpse of their times, and it is an authentic glimpse. It is not some made up, dramatized glimpse like movies. It is when she talks about her household in a typical South Indian household, a Tamilian household, a North Indian reading this would identify a lot of common things and lot of uncommon things. Okay. So I want you to develop that broadness also. I have an advantage of being born in northern India, eastern India. Acha, is there a PDF of this? Oh, I'd love to share it. I love to share.
यस सर पीडीएफ है बट आई गेस जो जैकेट पे लिखा हुआ है वो नहीं होगा बट ये 299 पेजेस का एक पीडीएफ तो आई हैव गॉट आई विल शेयर दिस
Share this. Please share this. Please share this.
सो यू कैन चेक
And it is complete, dear. I think it is.
सॉरी सर
Yeah, I think it is complete.
ओके
Let me check. Where have you shared? Acha. Let me first save it.
सर व्हाट्सएप पे भेज दिए आप
This one. Okay, I think it will do. Let me share. I know you people are so resourceful. That is why you need to be trained well.
So you can check this website for more books as well.
Okay. So what I'll do is instead of my checking it, I'll just give you the list. You check it and send
Okay,
it.
sir.
Oh, see, look at her. And see, I have the advantage of living in South India, and my love for that comes from being there. I love the food. I love the coffee. In fact, you will be surprised that I'm an avid drinker of. Actually, I get beans, I crush it, and I get it brewed, and I drink it. Nothing like South Indian filter coffee. Nothing like South Indian thali. I mean, the typical that Tamil and Kannada meals, Andhra meals. It is, as I speak, my mouth starts salivating. It's huge. I mean, that is what I mean. Many people who have lived in North India forever, they have a very hazy feeling of South India. Again, their perception is derived from those movies. Now, that is what I am telling you. Most of us develop the perception of things from what is being fed to us. Am I right? Am I right? So that is what I want you to challenge. So when we read an autobiography, when we read a biography, then we are able to refine our perceptions. Okay. So anyway, let me read what is written. Anyway, this is it is written like. Now, in a rich memoir brimming with grace, grit, and good humor, Nui offers a first-hand view of her legendary career and the sacrifices she often it often demanded. Nui takes us through the events that shaped her from childhood and early education in 1960s India to the Yale School of Management to her rise as a corporate consultant and strategist who soon ascended into the most senior executive ranks. My Life in Full offers an inside look at PepsiCo and Nui's thinking as she steered the iconic American company towards healthier products and reinvented its environmental profile despite resistance at every turn. For the first time and in raw detail, Nui also lays bare the difficulties that came with managing her demanding job and a growing family and what she learned along the way. Now, I always tell people that one thing that I have found among great leaders is their ability to learn from the events. So I always tell people, youngsters, that whenever you are facing an event, make a note of it. That did you learn something from it? And what is the definition of learning? What do we mean by learning? Let me make it very clear. What do we mean by learning? Learning, learning happens when our capabilities change. Learning is involved with change in capability. And change in capability to achieve something, achieve a result that was otherwise not possible without that new capability. So I'll just tell you one. So I am with my present capability, I'm achieving an outcome which is here. I want to achieve an outcome which is different. And there is a gap between my present achievement and the desired achievement. This achievement reflects, is a function of my present capability and how I am using it. Now, to move from here to here requires this stretching of capability or new capability, adding new capability. Now, this is learning. Now, incidentally, this process involves pain, as we'll get to know when we'll read The Road Less Traveled or any other such book. Pain. And this pain if we go through this pain, we enhance our capability, we add our capability, and we learn to produce this result. Okay. So what I have found is that people who have made it big in life, they change their capabilities. Their capabilities change when they face an event. Many of us go through an event without letting it impact our capability. But there are people who get impacted by an event and they start reevaluating their present capabilities. And they work on the capability and they add or they improve upon their capability. For example, suppose somebody gets, say, beaten on the street. So the guy takes up that event as, as a stimulus to upgrade its self-defense capability and becomes a kung fu expert and then goes on to teach kung fu to people. Okay. There are many instances in which people have got brutalized, they have got, bullied, raped, and they ended up becoming the greatest uh, contributor to, helping the victims, saving the victims. So the events, if we use the events to learn, that is the hallmark of great people. Unfortunately, most of us let the events pass. For example, a simple event of my reading a book to you, talking about this. It can be used by someone to actually, inculcate these leadership qualities, book reading, developing their language capabilities, learning those attributes, transforming themselves into a very powerful and capable and good individual. So you can go on to say that that class on the 23rd of February 2025, from that I learned to become a better individual, to treat my sister with more respect and love and affection, to respect my mother more, to build my own capability of respecting people more. Okay. So one thing that I always tell people is that great people have the capability to learn. So let me just talk a little bit about the introduction part, and then I'll move to other parts. Okay. One foggy Tuesday in November 2009, after hours of meetings in Washington, D.C., with 24 top US and Indian business executives, I found myself standing between the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of India. Barack Obama and Manmohan Singh had entered the room for an update on our group's progress. And President Obama began introducing the American team to his Indian counterpart. When he got to me, Indra Nooyi, CEO of PepsiCo, Prime Minister Singh exclaimed, "Oh, but she is one of us." And the president, with a big smile and without missing a beat, responded, "Ah, but she is one of us too." It's a moment I never forget. A spontaneous kindness from the leaders of the two great countries that have given me so much. I'm still the girl who grew up in a close family in Madras, in South India. I'm deeply connected to the lessons and culture of my youth. I'm also the woman who arrived in the US at age 23 to study and work, and somehow rose to lead an iconic company, a journey that I believe is possible only in America. I belonged in both worlds. I always tell people that you might be born in one place, that is your motherland. But when you go to a foreign land, it can be beyond the borders of the nation. It can be beyond the border of your state. It can be even beyond the border of your district. Respect that place. Love that place. Fall in love with that place. Become a part of the culture of that place. Suppose you are moving from, say, Delhi to Bangalore. Learn to be a Bangalorean. Learn to be in some part a Kannadiga. If you are moving to Tamil Nadu, learn to, how to live like a Tamil. Be a part of it. Respect them. If you are treating remember this line always. If you are treating your birthplace as a mother, then treat your workplace as a daughter. Always. Treat the workplace as a daughter. It can be a very different land from yours. But if you treat that with love and care and respect, then you will realize its impact. Okay? So this is what is reflected in what I have found. Look at how she talks about US. And I belong in both worlds. Looking back, I see how my life is full of this kind of duality. Competing forces that have pushed and pulled me from one chapter to another. And I see how this is true of everyone. We are all. Now, who are we? We are all. You fall in this we. I fall in this we. Anyone who is reading this will get into this we. We are all balancing, juggling, compromising, doing our best to find our place, move ahead, and manage our relationships and responsibilities. It is not easy in a society that changes very fast, yet sticks to some age-old habits and rules of behavior that feel out of our control. The twin demands that define me have always been my family and my work. My family and my work. I joined PepsiCo in 1994, in a part because of the company's headquarters were close to my house. I had two daughters, ages 10 and 1.5 at the time, and a husband whose office was nearby. PepsiCo's job offer made sense, we thought, because the commute was short. I'd be able to drive to the school or home to the baby in 15 minutes. Of course, this is not the only reason I chose PepsiCo. An exuberant, optimistic company that I wholeheartedly enjoyed from the moment I walked in. I also felt that PepsiCo was a place that was open to changing with the times. In fact, PepsiCo, if you recall, was the first company to come to India when the economic liberalization started in 1990s. And the generation X, the new generation X, Y, Z, these are all Pepsi generation. Ye dil mange more, give me more. Exuberance is being enthusiastic. So that was important. What was important? that was open to changing with times. That was important. I was female, an immigrant, and a person of color. The three things against which the world has a perspective, might have a prejudiced perspective. A female, an immigrant, an outsider, and a person of color. An executive entering an executive floor where I was different from everyone else. My career had started when the dynamics between women and men at work were not the same as they are now. In 14 years as a consultant and corporate strategist, I had never had a woman boss. I had no female mentors. I wasn't upset when I was excluded from the customs of male power. I was just happy to be included at all. But by the time I got to PepsiCo, waves of educated, ambitious women were pouring into the workforce, and I could sense the atmosphere changing. The competition between men and women was becoming more acute, and in the subsequent decades, women have altered the game in ways that would have been unthinkable to me early on. As a business leader, I always tried to anticipate and respond to the shifting culture. As a woman and the mother of girls, I wanted to do everything possible to encourage it. As my career progressed and my children grew up, I wrestled with the ever-present conflicts of working motherhood. Now, these things will help you when you are evaluating yourself. Everybody is wrestling with conflicts. It can be a conflict of preparing for CAT, studying for exam, taking care of your hobbies, taking care of your family. Nobody nobody who has succeeded in life has succeeded without conflict. For 15 years, I kept a whiteboard in my office that only my daughters could write on or erase. Over time, that board was a comforting kaleidoscope of doodles and messages, a constant reminder of the people closest to me. When I moved out of my office, I kept a canvas replica of its last iteration. Hey, Mom, I love you very much. Hang in there. Never forget that you have people that love you. Have a great day. Hey, Mom, you are the absolute best. Keep doing what you're doing. The image exclaims with cartoon characters and pictures, the suns and clouds, all in green and blue dry erase marker. So she had kept a board in her office on which her children could write so that she could see it as the child's feeling. It is a very important introduction. That is why I'm reading it. As a high-profile female CEO, I was asked over and over to discuss work and family conflicts in front of large audiences. I once commented that I wasn't sure my daughters thought I was a good mother. Don't all moms feel that way sometimes? And an Indian TV network produced a full-hour primetime discussion program without me on what Indra Nooyi said about working women. अब देखिए, कभी ये कह दी थी कि I wasn't sure my daughters thought I was a good mother. मतलब जैसे कैसे? When I say, many times I say, I can tell you I'm not the best teacher. Now somebody takes up that line and goes on to produce a program on me without involving me. Under what context I'm saying this? When I say I'm not the best teacher, I don't give you tricks, I don't give you shortcuts, I don't give you some magical pill. I'm reading line by line of this book to ensure that, yes, everyone can read it and enjoy it. And an Indian TV network produced a full hour prime time discussion program without me on Indra Nooyi said about working women. सोच ली, ये एक रिमार्क है on Indian TV network on the irresponsibility of the lack of responsibility on their part. Over the years, I met thousands of people worried about how to be true to their families, their jobs, and their ambitions to be good citizens. This engagement had a great impact on me. I learned and absorbed the details at the visceral level. I thought about how family is such a powerful source of human strength, but realized that creating and nurturing families is a source of stress for so many. Matlab, family is a strength. She will talk about it. I'll discuss this. And this is very important for you also. Because you will be growing up. Unfortunately, the trend has started. You will be growing up without the luxury of having a lot of people around you in a family, in a house. You will be growing up, unfortunately, in a big city, where at the end of the day, when you will come back, there will be empty rooms. Our generation grew up with this grudge that there are so many people in our rooms. When we were children, we had so many people living in a room. We did not have the concept of individual rooms. Today, many of you people, many of young people, they feel very bad when a guest comes and occupies their room. Let me tell you, there will come a day when you will be working, when you will come back home, and then you will miss that crowd. You will miss that crowd. We will miss those people. I mean, we have experienced that during COVID times. The silence on the street, the hollowness on the street. We complain about traffic in Bangalore. We complain about noise on the street. But did we not complain about the silence on the streets during COVID? Huh? Silence of death surrounding us, blaring of those ambulance. So you'll experience, so your generation is going to face the difficulty of loneliness. Many of you who are already working, come back in the evening, still not married, let us say, empty room. You get married, then only two people coming back home. If you are working, if your wife is a working professional, then probably you coming back home, open the lock, dark room, switch on the light, and suddenly realize that you are all alone. So learn to build network, people, family, friends, authentic network. The power of family. The concept of family will change. You will not have the, virtue of a big joint family in Bangalore or in Bombay or in Chennai or in US. But you cannot deny that the kind of power it has. Okay. So creating and nurturing families is a source of stress for so many. At the same time, I was among a wanted group of global CEOs regularly invited into rooms with the most influential leaders on the planet. And I came to notice that the painful stories about how people, especially women, struggle to blend their lives and livelihoods were entirely absent in those rooms. The titans of industry, politics, and economics talked about advancing the world through finance, technology, and flying to Mars. Family, the actual messy, delightful, difficult, and treasured core of how most of us live, was fringe. People were talking about going to Mars. People were talking about artificial intelligence, high finance. Nobody was not talking about family. Which is the actual messy, delightful, difficult, and treasured core of how most of us. This disconnect has profound consequence. This disconnect. Only people who have lived in family, they will try to create a family. See, what kind of dish you prepare? The dish that you liked, the dish that you enjoyed. So when you get on your own, either you try to purchase that dish or you try to prepare that dish. So family is also a dish. If you have a good taste of your family, you'll always try to create that family around you. And that is how, you create your world. And what is your, how you live in a family determines your impact, how you impact your workplace. Our failure to address work and family pressure in the senior reaches of global decision making restrains hundreds of millions of women every day, not only from rising and leading, but also from blending a satisfying career with a healthy partnership and motherhood. In a prosperous marketplace, we need all women to have the choice to work in paid jobs outside the home and for our social and economic infrastructure to entirely support that choice. Women's financial independence and security, so central to their equality, are at stake. More broadly, ignoring the fact that the work world is still largely skewed toward the ideal worker of past, an unencumbered male breadwinner depletes us all. Today also people think that men are the breadwinner and breadwinner has to be a man working all, its only job is to work. Men too get depleted. Companies lose out because productivity, innovation, and profit suffers when so many employees feel they can't bring their whole selves to work. Families lose out because they spend so much energy coping with old systems, from short school hours to a lack of parental leave or elder care that don't mesh with their reality. And of course, the entire global community suffers. Many young people, worried about how they will manage it all, are choosing not to have children. Just think about it. This could not only have a dire economic consequences in the decades to come, but on a very personal note, I find this detail sad. With everything I have accomplished, my greatest joy was having children. And I wouldn't want anyone to miss the experience if they want it. अभी इतना debate हो रहा है, just think. This debate has been going on, and Indra Nui has written an entire introduction in her book on this. You might have come across this news of 90 hours of work by Narayan Murthy. Then this guy from L&T CEO says, what will you do on Sundays? How long can you keep watching your wife's face? What does it reflect? This is sad. You cannot live your life in an emergency. Yes, during emergency, you can have, 60 hours at a stretch you can work. But is your life an emergency? If your work is an emergency, then probably you are at the wrong place. If your everyday life as a software engineer or as a manager of a firm requires you to sacrifice everything at your home, family, then probably you should be either in a bomb disposal squad or at CIA. Not in the firm. You don't run a firm like CIA or a bomb disposal squad. Huh? After all, why do we work? I always ask people, I run a firm, a very tough, a firm with a very tough, construction firm, you can imagine. I always tell people, कि भाई क्यों होली में अभी now Holi is coming. Let me tell you, Holi would be on 14th, 15th or 16th. And I mean, we take care of our employees. We are already planning when to give them the chutti. Now these 15 days are important. So just yesterday I came from the project side. I just told them that the next 15 days you slog it out, get the target fulfilled, achieve it, and then go home, hopefully celebrate it with peace. One extra day of chutti. Because that is what you are working for. Then will come Eid after some time. And since I'm into construction industry, a lot of people at work level who are who celebrate Eid. So you have to plan for them because that is what they're working for. You have a vision. You have $1 million at stake. But they have what? They earn 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 rupees. Why should they sacrifice their Eid and Holi for you? You should not do this. They are living in jungle. They are living in camps. I mean, my camp a few days back in jungles of Jharkhand, people sighted tiger. So my people are living in a camp where tigers can come. Elephants keep coming regularly. And you feel bad when they go home. Then probably your understanding of family is not correct. Then no, you don't realize how important family is. Probably you are not, loved by your family.
So we need more people like you in India.
There are people. Fortunately, there are a lot of people. There are not less people, but yes, they don't get highlighted, unfortunately. They don't get highlighted. And that is why this is important, because you become managers. You don't become see, there are two types in our times in college, engineering college, there used to be the concept of ragging. Okay. So there were two types of people who decided that since they were ragged, they would not be bad to their juniors. They would be nice to their juniors. And there were other set of people who said, since I have been ragged, I will also rag my juniors. Okay. So it depends. So when you read these things, make a note of these things. When you become leaders, you realize how does it feel when a father walks into the house one day before Holi with few gifts. How a father, how the children feel when a father walks into the house 2 days before Eid with lots of gifts. Do you realize the joy of those 5 days? Doesn't an employee deserve that? He is giving his entire life to the vision of the company, to the balance sheet of the company. And he doesn't deserve this much just because you have a very skewed concept of family. It doesn't matter. You don't have this concept of how your wife would feel if you are present there. How would it feel? I mean, when you get on time in the evening and when you share a cup of coffee together. Just because you don't get into that. This is where you should learn from these autobiographies, the right voices, amplify these right voices. I don't say that you tolerate slackers at work. We can't tolerate slackers at work. But if people are working, family matters. Just imagine you are creating a situation where people, young couple, feel that should they have children or not? What will they do with the money? What will they do with the 2 days break that you are giving them in Mauritius? You are making them work or you are exploiting them. That is when I say people are not resources. People are people. People are human beings. Start treating them as human beings. You learn these things when you read these things. And when you read these things with people like us, you actually get the essence of what is written there, to be very honest. So when you become managers, build your family, earn money, get children, build your money, build your family, create a system. See, today is Sunday. I could have chosen to go to the site, scold my workers. But then it means that I do not have a good system. If a manager is so busy that he cannot have time, it means he has a very poor system. After all, what is this organization for? Having passion at work is one thing. Being passionate about results is one thing. But being inefficient and taking sadistic pleasure in keeping people away from their family is wrong. I always tell young people, when they take up a job, the first question that I ask is, when they take up a new job, and they'll say, sir, I am decided to take up a job. So I say, okay, you have Saturday off or not? I always tell them, work in a firm, work in a company that gives you Saturday and Sunday off. Study in a school which gives you Saturday and Sunday off. Right? If I were to start a school, I tell people around that if I were to start a school, I will have 3 days study. Only 3 days. And 2 days for completely masti. Come, play, do whatever you want. And 2 days, and you can bring your family, you can bring your parents, you can bring your friends. Bring your friends to school. No problem. Just imagine, bring your friends in school. Do whatever you want. What's wrong with it? What has this education system done to us? Has it made everyone an Einstein, everyone a Newton? And the best of the graduates, they don't know what is unitary method. So there's something seriously wrong with this system. So I'll make it more wrong. Have fun and study. Give time to your family. So let me tell you, my dear, keep a family around you, keep a crowd around you. Okay? That is how people succeed. When you get money, when you are working, keep a lot of people around you. I believe that we must address the work and family conundrum puzzle, work and family puzzle, by focusing on our infrastructure around care with an energy and ingenuity like never before. We should consider this a moonshot, starting with ensuring that every worker has access to paid leave, flexibility, and predictability to help them handle the ebb and flow of work and family life. And then moving fast to develop the most innovative and comprehensive child care and elder care solutions that our greatest minds can devise. See, you are designing rockets to reach moon. You are designing rockets. You are designing, you are developing, you are using your mind to send orbiter to Mars without proper engine. And you can't use that intelligence to design a system where your workers are happy and comfortable. This mission will require leadership that we don't often see. And let me tell you, what I am telling you is at the core of management thinking. If you will read the introduction to management, you will find that the objective of management is this. One of the key objectives of management and one of the key objectives of managerial function is to ensure the dignity of man, human being. The term dignity has been used. This mission will require leadership that we don't often see. She's agreeing to. I think the fundamental role of a leader is to look for ways to shape the decades ahead, not just react to the present, and to help others accept the discomfort of disruptions to their status quo. We need the wisdom of business leaders, policymakers, and all women and men passionate about easing the work and family burden to come together here. With a can-do sense of optimism and must-do sense of responsibility, we can transform our society. Transformation is difficult, but I have learned that with courage and patience, persistence, and the inevitable give and take, it can happen. When I became PepsiCo's CEO in 2006, I laid out an extremely ambitious plan to address the underlying tensions in a company still rooted in selling soda and chips. I knew we had to balance supporting our prized Pepsi Cola and Doritos brands with a full throttle effort to make and market more healthy products. We had to keep stocking stores and pantries with convenient, delicious snacks and beverages, but account for the environmental impact of that growth. We had to attract and retain the very best thinkers in their fields, but ensure that PepsiCo was also a terrific place to work for 250,000 people. I called this mission performance with purpose. And for a dozen years, I weighed every decision against these measures, making constant trade-offs to achieve a more sustainable contemporary organization. In the months before I left PepsiCo in 2018, I thought about how I would contribute in the years ahead. Knowing that I am one in a chain of women leaders who can help move us forward for generations to come, I set out to write a book and insisted to all around me that it would not be a memoir. Instead, I thought I would devote every ounce of my experience and intellect to a manual for fixing how we mix work and family. So this book is very important for you. Read this to deal with this family and workplace. I'll do my part. I'll take the next session on this only. I'll continue this in the next session so that you get a perspective. 2 sessions on this book. Do you realize what she's saying? She didn't want to write just a memoir. Instead, I thought I would devote every ounce of my experience and intellect to a manual. So this book is a manual, handbook on fixing how we mix work and family. The book you hold is not that book. First, I soon found that the research on work and family has been done, Asha, from every angle, in every corner of the world. The arguments and ideas for supporting families, from maternity leave to early childhood education to multi-generational living, have been compiled, analyzed, scored, debated by brilliant minds. I didn't need to repeat all that. Second, everything I bring to this issue, I know now, comes from my own life in full. Okay. So this manual, this is a manual, this is a handbook. Okay. So I think so it is not a book on, it is not some research. Okay. So what she brings is, what she'll talk about is from her own life info. So it is, don't take this book as some research work or, description of some research on family, life, and all those things. No, it's been compiled. What she will discuss is what comes from her own life info. Okay. So from now on, we'll read Growing Up. Shall we continue this in the next session?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think many of you have, just like me, not eaten anything. So enjoy the Sunday with this much. Just be honest, tell me. I hope it was worth it, yaar. I ate your brains.
It is.
Was it really genuinely? Don't tell me to just make me happy. But I mean, was this buck worth it? I mean, like, will you be?
It was a very
Yes,
good
sir.
session, sir.
Keep me motivated, because then it brings out the best. I when I read this book sometime later, I might talk about it in a very different perspective. So it is your passion, your respect, your love for this session that brings out the best analysis.
And so it was not bug at all. It was an intellectual talk.
I want you people to, get aligned. My objective is to transform you into an intellectually formidable person. I don't want people to treat you like, but ये सब क्या है, सब कुछ नहीं जानते, सब these are shallow. Okay. I want you to, now, the very important thing, when you go back home, my one very important point is family. Respect for family, respect for your sisters, love for your sister. If a boy can make it, happen, that his sister trusts her as an individual, that guy will make a perfect leader. Thank you, Jia. Let me tell you. So start working with small challenges. Go look at your sister. She will be surprised what has happened to you. But gradually, look at her from that perspective. Then your women at workplace, your classmate, every woman in the object is not an object. Every woman at workplace. I mean, I tell people who make passes at women, I tell them that see, the woman who's selling this soap and you are making a pass at her, she is doing it to sustain her family. Respect her. Don't treat her the way some third grade movie makes you see a woman. So anyway, let us continue this. So next class, I will continue with this. Indranu's autobiography. Next book reading session. Okay. Okay, Pranjal, I will. Chalo, bye bye. Take care. We'll meet again.
Thank you, sir, for this session. Bye-bye.
Chalo, thank you. Thank you for being there.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you, sir.
Bye bye. Take care. Chalo, take care.